Welcome to another deep dive. Today we're going way back to the golden age of the piano virtuoso, focusing on two giants we've gotten a ton of requests about, Sergei Rachmaninoff and Vladimir Horowitz.
Yeah, I'm excited to dive in. You gave me some amazing material on them.
Oh, you know I did. I'm ready.
We'll explore not just their ridiculous skills, but also the whole scene around them. Think piano technology,
Okay.
cultural trends, even the beginnings of recording technology
Yeah.
and how all that impacted their rise.
Yeah, I was particularly floored by Rachmaninoff's early career.
Oh, yeah.
You know, he had that symphony premiere that was such a disaster, it sent him into a depression.
Oh, it's a wild story.
Isn't that crazy? But then he makes this huge comeback with Piano Concerto No. 2.
It's like a movie, right? Talk about resilience.
There's a comeback, kid.
Speaking of comebacks, we'll get to Horowitz's stage fright and his triumphant returns a little later.
Right.
But first, let's set the stage for these two. What made this golden age so special for piano music?
Okay, yeah. Take me a picture.
What was happening that made the piano such a phenomenon?
Yeah.
It was this perfect storm. In the 19th century, the piano itself was changing like mad.
Okay.
We're talking the cast iron frame, a much wider keyboard, and better action.
Wow.
So before these changes, pianos were much quieter,
Hmm.
less expressive.
Right.
But these advancements meant a whole new level of volume, dynamics, and expression for composers and performers.
So the piano itself got supercharged.
Basically.
But what about the players? Did these innovations create more chances for pianists to, become stars?
100%. The piano was the instrument.
Right.
Everyone wanted one. Think about it.
Yeah.
Middle-class homes all had pianos, sheet music sales were exploding,
I can only imagine.
and concert halls were getting bigger and bigger to fit everyone who wanted to hear these guys play.
Wow.
Piano virtuosity became a total obsession.
Like rock stars.
Yeah, it was the age of the rock star pianist.
And that's where Rachmaninoff comes in.
You got it.
Incredible composer, A&D, a phenomenal pianist, all in one.
Exactly. And his life is fascinating. Born in 1873,
Okay.
a noble Russian family with this deep musical history, Rachmaninoff showed crazy talent early on.
Wow.
And even though his family hit some hard times financially,
Okay.
they saw his gift and got him study in the Moscow Conservatory.
Mm-hmm.
And get this, one of his teachers had studied with the legendary Franz Liszt.
Wow. Talk about a pedigree.
Right.
But, I read about that awful premiere of his first symphony.
Oh, yeah.
That must have been devastating.
Totally.
To have your work rejected like that.
In such a public way.
I mean, it's amazing he recovered from that to write his iconic Piano Concerto No. 2.
Right. Which, by the way, is one of my absolute favorites.
Oh, yeah, it's stunning.
It really shows his resilience. That symphony premieres in 1897 just wrecked him, sent him into this deep depression.
Yeah.
But here's the wild part. He used hypnotherapy to get his confidence and creativity back.
Hypnotherapy, seriously, I never knew that.
I know. It just shows how much that failure affected him.
Right.
But the fact that he bounced back and created a work as beloved as the Piano Concerto No. 2, it's incredible, right? And a big part of what makes it so special, so popular, is the second movement.
Oh, yeah.
It has this haunting cello melody that just grabs you.
Oh, I know it.
A lot of people think it was inspired by a poem about unrequited love, which makes it even more powerful.
Oh, wow. I'm going to have to listen to that again with a whole new perspective.
Definitely. But that second concerto was just the beginning.
Of course.
He went on to write so many more incredible pieces,
Yeah.
really pushing what was possible on the piano.
Let's talk about those. I mean, his concertos are iconic, but he also wrote a ton of solo piano pieces, right?
So many. And they're all amazing in their own way.
Yeah.
The etudes, tableau, his preludes, the sonatas, they're each so unique and challenging.
Where do we even begin?
Right.
I've always been intrigued by the etudes tableau. I love that each one is like a musical painting.
Yes, a picture
Yeah.
study showing a specific scene or emotion, and so evocative. Technically demanding, too.
Oh, I bet.
It takes a true virtuoso to capture those nuances and all the expressiveness he put into them.
Absolutely.
Oh, and we can't forget the preludes.
Yeah.
That C-sharp minor prelude.
Yeah.
It's so hauntingly beautiful.
It's one of those pieces that even if you don't know classical music, you've probably heard it.
It's iconic.
You know?
It's a classic for a reason. And then there's the sonatas. You mentioned in your notes you found those particularly challenging.
Oh, I do, especially the second sonata. It's so massive, so complex. I
Well-
feel like I get lost in all the contrasting themes and the dramatic shifts.
It's definitely a journey. and one that demands your full attention.
Yeah.
But that's Rachmaninoff for you. His music makes you pay attention. It's an experience.
It's not background music.
No way.
Speaking of experiences,
Yes.
we have to talk about the Rhapsody on a theme of Paganini. The first time I heard that 18th variation,
Okay.
my jaw dropped.
It's something else, isn't it? The way he took Paganini's Caprice No. 24, which was for solo violin,
Right.
and turned it into this epic work for piano and orchestra.
It's amazing.
It's genius. And then that 18th variation where he inverts the theme creates this amazing feeling of like longing and beauty. It's pure magic.
Yeah, and it's not just beautiful, it's dramatic. I read that he uses the Dies Irae chant in it.
He does.
You know, that medieval chant about the Day of Judgment? How cool is that?
It's brilliant. He weaves in this haunting melody and adds a whole other level to it, you know?
Yes.
Depth and drama.
Yeah.
And that's Rachmaninoff's signature,
Yeah.
blending these unexpected elements into his music. It's familiar, but also totally unique.
So taking all this in,
Yeah.
what do you think makes his style so distinct? Why is his music still so powerful after all these years?
It all goes back to Romanticism,
Okay.
which was this huge musical movement in the 19th century.
Right.
But he took that into the 20th century, adding his own flavor.
Mm-hmm.
There's this crazy emotional depth, a sense of nostalgia, melancholy, and passion.
Yeah, it's so human. You know?
It really is. And of course, you can't forget his skills as a pianist.
Right.
He wrote music that was super challenging, pushing the piano to its limits.
It blows my mind that he was writing these incredible pieces while also touring the world, performing them.
It's crazy.
Like he had these two musical lives, both incredible.
Yeah, and as a performer, he was known for his perfect technique and clarity. But he also had this amazing ability to balance that with deep emotion.
Right.
He wasn't just playing notes, he was pouring his heart out.
Yeah, and those hands, I read that he had this crazy wide hand span.
Oh, yeah.
Like he could stretch his fingers further than most people.
Oh, it's true. His hands were legendary.
It's not just a myth.
No, he could hit intervals other pianists couldn't, giving his music this richness and texture that was unlike anything else.
Wow.
You could really hear it in his recordings, which, luckily for us, we still have.
That is lucky. To be able to hear him play his own music.
It's priceless.
Those recordings must have been a huge part of cementing his legacy, right?
100%. They were so influential.
Yeah.
Especially his performance of Chopin's Prelude in C minor. Pianists still study it today.
Oh, wow.
It's that powerful.
So he wasn't just a brilliant composer, he was also a master pianist who inspired tons of other musicians.
It's undeniable.
So where does Vladimir Horowitz fit into all this?
Good question.
I mean, he came onto the scene a bit later, but his style was so unique, so powerful.
Absolutely.
How did he carve his own path when guys like Rachmaninoff were already legends?
That is the question. See, Horowitz was born a few decades after Rachmaninoff in 1903 in Kiev, which was part of the Russian Empire then.
Right.
Just like Rachmaninoff, he came from a musical family. His mother was his first piano teacher.
Oh, wow.
And like Rachmaninoff, he had this crazy talent from a young age.
It's like they were destined for greatness.
Right. He studied at the Kiev Conservatory and became known as this rising star in Russia.
Okay.
But then things changed when he emigrated in 1925.
That's when he ends up in America, right? And things really take off there.
They do.
So tell me about that.
His American debut in 1928 at Carnegie Hall.
The legendary Carnegie Hall.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
He played Tchaikovsky's Piano Concerto Never 1, and it was a sensation.
Amazing.
Oh, and get this. He ended up marrying Wanda Toscanini, the daughter of the legendary conductor Arturo Toscanini.
Wait, seriously?
Yeah, talk about connections.
Oh, I bet Arturo opened some doors for him. It must have been incredible to see Horowitz in his prime.
It must have been something else.
I mean, those stories about his technique, his energy on stage, it's almost mythical.
He was a force of nature.
Yeah.
His performances were legendary, known for this insane technique and raw passion. He had this incredible dynamic range, going from whisper quiet to thunderingly loud, just like that.
Whoa.
And there was this spontaneity to his playing that was just captivating.
I can imagine.
He took risks, pushed boundaries, and it made his performances electric.
But his repertoire was diverse, right?
It was.
He wasn't just playing those romantic pieces like Rachmaninoff.
No.
Didn't he play everything from Scarlatti to Scriabin?
He did.
Yeah.
And he brought his own unique flair to everything he played.
Yeah.
But it is interesting that he was so drawn to the Romantic composers.
Especially considering his later connection with Rachmaninoff.
Exactly.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear more about that.
We'll get there.
But what stands out to you about Horowitz so far? What made him so captivating?
I think it's how he balanced this raw power and passion with incredible control and precision.
Okay.
Like, he could unleash this torrent of sound and then pull it back with perfect control.
Yeah.
The technique of a machine, the heart of a poet.
I love that.
What about you? What grabs you about his style?
Honestly, it's that sheer intensity.
Oh, yeah.
I've heard recordings where it feels like he's going to break the piano, but then there's this amazing sensitivity and nuance, too. Like he's channeling every human emotion through his fingers.
You're right on. He had this amazing way of expressing the full range of human emotion through his music.
It's incredible.
But there's something we need to talk about. Horowitz, despite that larger-than-life persona, struggled with something you might not expect.
What? Don't tell me he secretly hated the piano.
Not quite. He actually suffered from terrible stage fright.
Wait, are you serious? The guy who seemed so at home on stage, commanding the attention of thousands, was terrified to perform.
It's true. Hard to believe, right?
It is.
Got so bad that he actually retired multiple times.
Oh, wow.
Because of it.
Wow.
And some health issues as well.
Okay.
But each time he came back, it was this huge event. The music world welcomed him with open arms.
So even with all that incredible talent and success, he was still human.
Absolutely.
He still had anxieties and doubts like everyone else.
We all do.
It makes you wonder how he kept coming back, despite those struggles.
It shows incredible dedication.
It does.
And it reminds us that even the greatest artists are human. They have those vulnerabilities and fears.
Yeah.
But what sets them apart is their ability to push through and share their gift with the world.
That's powerful. And it makes his accomplishments even more impressive.
It really does.
So despite all of that, he kept coming back to the stage, captivating audiences again and again. And he did more than just perform. He also put his own unique spin on existing pieces.
Yes.
Creating transcriptions and arrangements.
We have to talk about those. He was a true innovator.
Let's dig in. I'm especially curious about his take on Rachmaninoff.
All right, get ready to be amazed.
Yeah.
Because Horowitz's Rachmaninoff is something special.
Okay, so Horowitz and Rachmaninoff.
Oh, yeah.
What made his interpretations so special?
You know how some artists can just take someone else's work and make it their own?
Oh, yeah.
That's what Horowitz did with Rachmaninoff.
Yeah.
His performances of the Piano Concerto No. 3 are legendary.
Really?
He managed to capture the technical side and the emotion.
Right.
And he made it sound brand new.
It's like he got Rachmaninoff on this whole other level of kindred spirits.
Exactly. And it wasn't just Rachmaninoff. Horowitz was known for breathing new life into all these crazy, difficult pieces.
Okay.
Like, take Liszt's Transcendental Etudes.
Oh, man, those are so hard.
They are.
Just listening to them makes my head spin. What did Horowitz do with them?
Those etudes were all about showing off, pushing the piano to the limit.
Right.
And Horowitz, with his technique and his style, he brought this whole new level of excitement and drama.
So he took these already hard pieces and made them even more intense.
He did. It's like he loved pushing boundaries, showing everyone what the piano could really do.
Yeah.
And speaking of pushing boundaries,
yes,
we have to talk about his transcriptions and arrangements.
The Carmen variations. Tell me everything.
Okay, so picture this. You take themes from Bizet's opera, Carmen, those iconic melodies, and you turn them into this crazy showpiece for solo piano.
Okay.
That's the Carmen variations. Wild, dazzling, and so hard to play. Only a few pianists can even try it.
I've also heard about his transcription of Stars and Stripes Forever. Now that I gotta hear.
Oh, it's a trip. He took Sousa's March and turned it into this flashy piano piece.
Wow.
It's a perfect example of Horowitz blending genres.
Right.
Bringing classical technique to this popular tune.
That's amazing.
I bet audiences went wild.
I bet he had that stage presence,
Oh, yeah.
That charisma.
Definitely. And thankfully for us, a lot of his performances were recorded.
Oh, good.
His albums won tons of awards. And he even did televised concerts.
Oh, wow.
Bringing classical music to a whole new crowd.
It's so cool that we can still watch those today.
It's amazing.
It's like a time machine.
It is. And his recordings weren't just for entertainment.
Right.
They were incredibly influential for other musicians. especially pianists.
Oh, yeah.
You could almost call them master classes.
Right, like learning from the master.
Exactly. His playing was so unique, so innovative, especially in terms of tone and color, that it really changed how people played the piano.
He revolutionized things.
Yeah. It's hard to overstate his impact.
So he revolutionized piano playing. He had that incredible stage presence.
Right.
And then there's the Rachmaninoff connection. It's like they were destined to be linked.
They were.
What can you tell us about their relationship?
Well, it's a special one. It all started in the 1920s when they met.
Okay.
Rachmaninoff was already a legend, and he heard Horowitz play.
Yeah.
And he was blown away. He became a huge fan.
Really?
Especially of how Horowitz played his music. And of course, Horowitz looked up to Rachmaninoff as both a composer and a pianist.
It makes sense.
And they actually became friends, bonding over their shared love of music.
That's amazing. Did they ever perform together?
They did, not often, but there's this famous recording of them playing a two-piano version of Rachmaninoff's symphonic dances.
I gotta hear that. What was it like to be in that room?
Right.
Two piano giants, side by side.
It must have been magic.
And can you imagine their conversations about music?
Oh, I know.
I bet they were fascinating.
People think those conversations influenced how Horowitz played Rachmaninoff's music,
Interesting.
shaping his interpretations.
It's like a passing of the torch, you know?
Yeah.
Rachmaninoff recognizing Horowitz's genius,
Mm-hmm.
and then Horowitz keeping that music alive
It's a beautiful way to look at it.
for a new generation.
And it's even more powerful considering that Horowitz continued to champion Rachmaninoff's music long after he passed away.
That's incredible.
He felt it was his job to keep those pieces in the spotlight.
Wow.
It shows how deep their connection was
Yeah.
and the lasting impact of Rachmaninoff's music.
So as we're thinking about these two giants of music,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on their legacy? What makes it so powerful?
I think it's that combo of technical mastery and raw emotion.
Oh, yeah.
They both had this incredible ability to move you, to make you feel something deep down. They weren't just playing notes, they were telling stories.
Huh. Expressing the whole human experience.
Through the piano.
Exactly.
And let's not forget their charisma and stage presence.
Right. They weren't just musicians. They were performers. They knew how to captivate an audience.
Mm-hmm.
They had this mystery, this legend around them
Right.
that just added to their appeal.
It did.
It's funny how those stories and legends
Yeah.
become part of their legacy,
Totally.
like almost as much as the music.
I know. It speaks to their personalities.
Yeah.
And how they captured people's imaginations.
Think about those stories of Horowitz's stage fright.
Oh, I know, right?
You have this larger-than-life figure known for being bold and dramatic,
Yeah.
and he's terrified to perform. It's almost counterintuitive.
Totally.
Makes him more human, you know, even with all that talent.
Absolutely. It reminds us that even the greatest artists have those challenges and anxieties.
Yeah.
But it's how they overcome those things and
Right.
share their gifts
Yeah.
that makes them extraordinary.
So the golden age of the piano virtuoso. Yeah.
It wasn't just about being technically amazing or flashy.
It wasn't.
It was about something deeper.
It was.
It was about connecting with the audience,
Mm-hmm.
telling stories through music,
Yes.
leaving a mark.
A legacy that lasts.
It transcends time and trends.
Exactly. That's something that lasts.
Absolutely.
Mm.
It was about pushing the limits of music,
Yeah.
leaving a mark that would resonate for generations.
It's beautiful.
And in a way, that spirit of the golden age lives on.
Okay.
It lives on in every musician who wants to connect with people and share their love of music.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
It is. Their legacy reminds us of how powerful music is.
Oh, totally.
It moves us. It challenges us. It connects us.
It does. This deep dive was just a glimpse into their world.
Right.
There's so much more to discover.
Yeah.
Recordings, biographies, performances. What will you explore next?
My to-listen list just got a whole lot longer.
I bet.
Maybe Rachmaninoff's Symphony Note in it.
Oh, nice.
Or I'll try to find a recording of Horowitz conducting.
That would be cool.
You've given me so much to think about. This has been great.
The pleasure was all mine. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive
Of course.
into the world of Rachmaninoff and Horowitz.
Anytime.
Until next time,
Mhm.
keep exploring, keep listening, and keep the music alive.
Mhm.
You know, we've covered their talent, their stage presence, the innovations they brought to piano music.
Yeah.
But there's this one final piece,
You okay?
this thing that really made their legacy last.
What's that?
It's their appeal. Why are we still so drawn to their music?
Right.
even though it was written so long ago.
It's the million-dollar question, right?
It is.
It goes beyond just being amazing pianists.
It does. I mean, there are tons of great pianists out there.
Right.
But not all of them have that same staying power.
Exactly.
It's how they poured their emotions and personalities into their music.
Okay.
Think about Rachmaninoff. His music has this feeling of longing,
Yeah.
nostalgia, deep thought.
Yeah, you mentioned the preludes earlier.
Oh, they're so powerful.
They are?
It's like he's bearing his soul in every note.
It's so personal.
It is. And then there's Horowitz.
Right, with that energy and passion you can't miss.
Oh, yeah.
It's impossible to ignore.
You feel it in every performance.
Yeah, like he's laying it all out there.
Exactly. They weren't afraid to be vulnerable, to let their emotions come through.
It's real, you know.
It is. And even though their personalities and styles were different,
Yeah.
they both had this charisma, this stage presence. It drew people in.
And it's funny
What did we...
how those stories and legends around them
Oh, yeah.
become almost as big as the music itself.
I know. It's the power of personality.
Yeah.
And how they capture people's imaginations.
Like, think about those stories of Horowitz's stage fright.
Oh, that's a good one.
It's kind of wild, right? This larger-than-life guy, known for these bold performances,
Yeah.
and he's terrified to go on stage.
I know. It doesn't make sense.
It makes him more human,
It does.
even with all that talent.
It reminds us that even the greats face challenges.
Yeah.
And the fact that he kept coming back, despite that,
Right.
that shows serious dedication and passion.
Absolutely.
That's something we can all learn from,
course.
even when things are tough. Keep
Yeah.
going.
It's inspiring.
It is.
So the Golden Age, it wasn't just about skills or putting on a show.
It wasn't.
It was about something much deeper.
It was about connecting with people,
Yeah.
telling stories with music,
And leaving something behind.
a legacy.
That lasts.
It goes beyond time and trends.
Exactly.
It was about pushing the limits of music, leaving a mark that would echo through the years.
That's beautiful.
And, you know, that spirit of the Golden Age,
Yeah.
it's still alive
It is.
in every musician who tries to connect with their audience and share their passion for music.
That's a beautiful thing.
It is. Their legacy reminds us of the power of music.
Totally.
It moves us, challenges us, connects us.
We've said it a million times, but it's true.
It is. And this was just a glimpse into their world.
Right, just a taste.
There's so much more to discover.
Oh, yeah.
Recordings, biographies, performances. What will you explore next?
I don't even know where to start.
It's a lot.
Maybe Rachmaninoff's Symphony No. 2 is next.
Well, good choice.
Or maybe I'll try to find a recording of Horowitz conducting.
That would be cool.
I'm ready for more.
That's what we like to hear. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the world of Rachmaninoff and Horowitz. Until next time, keep exploring, keep listening, and keep the music alive.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me again.